are just about 2.5 weeks away from WrestleMania invading the Metroplex. WrestleMania coming Saturday and Sunday, April 2nd and 3rd to AT&T Stadium in Arlington, the home of the Dallas Cowboys. And as we say, the Horn is your home for the Dallas Cowboys when they get kicked off this September. We'll see what they look like. But in the meantime, it's going to be the biggest wrestling event ever. And to help me talk about it, we bring in on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline lady that has had such an incredible run with WWE, former Divas champion, former SmackDown Women's champion. She was the first to hold both those titles in WWE. Add the women's tag team titles with Tamina. Might as well call her a Triple Crown champion. And a fantastic individual, Natalya. Follow her on Twitter at NatByNature. Natalya, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for that introduction. That was really cool.
Well, my pleasure. Before we get to the wrestling and all that, we got to take care of the important stuff. How is Two Paws, your cat, as well as TJ, your husband?
He's good. They're all good. Actually, let me see if I can find Two Paws. Hold on one second.
Uh-oh. We may get if you're watching this on YouTube, where she is about to get Two Paws, I believe. Oh, she's got it. Here we go. Here we go.
A little skittish.
There you go.
Side. There he is.
Hello, Two Paws.
Say hi. Say hi, buddy. He's doing great. We're doing great. I'm home doing this interview, which is like my favorite place to be.
That's good.
But my second favorite place to be is performing in front of our incredible audience. Yes, you guys got a Two Paws exclusive.
And you got to perform in Montreal for the first time in a couple of years.
Yeah, that was our first.
I mean, the Harts are wrestling royalty in Canada. Obviously, you're in the Canadian Wrestling Hall of Fame. Just talk for a second about how much that meant after everything we've been through with the pandemic and everything, to be able to perform in Canada, in Montreal, in front of the Canadian fans there.
Oh, it was cool to get back. I mean, we hadn't been back since before the pandemic. So to be able to go there, and the crowd was incredible in Montreal. They were a dream crowd. But we do that in WWE. We have like our family, our fans, our WWE universe, no matter where we go, they're ride or die. They celebrate with us. They laugh with us. They cry with us. Of course, everybody is mourning the passing of Razor Ramon, who's known as his real name is Scott Hall. But the wrestling community really, really comes together, and in the good times and the bad times and everything in between. And especially coming out of this global pandemic, everybody's been through so much. Yeah. It's been a challenging time. So to be able to take people's minds off of it with a show where you can boo Sami Zayn, or you can cheer Ricochet, or you can high five Natalya on her way to the ring, or you can take a selfie with Sasha Banks, who's making her way down the ramp. And it's cool. It's so interactive, and we really never take our fans for granted ever.
Absolutely. You just mentioned the passing of Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. Give us probably one of your favorite memories and interaction with you and Scott, whether it was backstage or at an event or something. Just give me a favorite memory of yours of the bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, one of the last interactions I had with Scott was in 2016. He was telling me how much his son meant to him, and how his son wanted to follow in his footsteps. And he was just talking about how proud he was of his son. And I will never forget that, because of course, my dad, I was following in my dad's footsteps. So to have a kid that's following in your footsteps, you want them to do great. And he was just so proud of his son. And it was nice to talk to him about something that wasn't wrestling related. It was more family related, more about life. It showed how much of a big heart he had.
Yeah, absolutely. Watch Cody some in New Japan and did a fantastic job. Of course, your father, the Anvil, Jim Neidhart. I remember him in Mid-South Wrestling before he hit WWE.
Right.
And working for Bill Watts back in the day. So let me ask you about training in the Hart Dungeon, because that's, it's a legendary place where the, some of the greatest wrestlers ever came through, including yourself. What's the biggest lesson that you learned in the Hart Dungeon that you carry with you today?
I think the biggest lesson that I've learned in the dungeon is being consistent, that you're going to get knocked on your ass and you have to keep going. You have to keep going. You have to keep fighting. You have to fight for your dreams, but consistency always wins. It's even in the gym. You can't, there's no substitute for hard work. There's no substitute for being consistent, whether you're on a diet, whether you're trying to get in better shape, whether you're trying to reach a dream, whether you're going to college. Even in school, I struggled in school. I did well in school, but I really struggled in school. And I think I had undiagnosed learning disabilities that I didn't even, looking back on it now, I go, yeah, I probably had certain situations that I was working through. So I would read a book. I'd have to read it 2 or 3 times to understand it. And I look back on that now, and it really, my dedication and discipline, even in school, to get straight A's. I got a D in math, but to do well in school, which I did really well in school for the most part, it just took so much work. But I took that work ethic and I applied that to my pro wrestling career. I actually graduated high school a year early because I was just relentless. I was determined. I was passionate, and I was consistent. And those skills helped me get to the top in WWE. They've helped me have 643 wins in the company. They've given me the opportunity to set 3 Guinness World Records in WWE for the most matches, the most wins, the most pay-per-view matches, and we're still setting records. This year, if I'm competing in WrestleMania, right now as it stands, I have the most matches at WrestleMania of any woman in the industry.
Amazing.
I haven't been able to do that by sitting on my ass, so to speak, and taking it easy. This thing called life is hard work. You got to work hard, and you've got to be consistent. And that was instilled in me from the dungeon. That was instilled in me when I was in school. That's part of my moral fiber, is to work hard, and I'm proud of it. And I want other people to know that this was not easy getting here. No. And that anything that you want, your dreams aren't going to be easy. If it's worth fighting for, it's going to be really, really hard. But I am proof that you can do it.
Absolutely. And everything we saw from the Hart Dungeon, you get stretched a lot, whether it's from Stu or from your uncles Ross and Bruce. Talk about one of those times that they stretched you to a point where maybe you were having second thoughts about it.
My uncles, thank God, my grandfather and my uncles, they never really. My uncle Ross was a little rough around the edges because he was always trying to teach me how to do headlocks and uppercuts and punches. So sometimes I'd get a little potato, but I actually was the one beating all of them up.
Okay, all right. I was lucky enough. I got to meet Ross several years ago in Wichita Falls, and what a great guy. It was really nice to chat with him and just talk about the Hart family history. You just mentioned the Guinness World Records. As you mentioned, most pay-per-view appearances by a female, most matches by a female, and most wins by a female. And you're about to set another one. And you've been in WWE for 15 years now. Crazy as it sounds, and you're still as vibrant and everything. What's the thing you're most proud of with your 15-year tenure in WWE?
What I'm most proud of is being able to take the knowledge that I have and pass it on to others. I'm what good is having knowledge if you can't pay it forward? What good? We all need to be aspiring to do that. Every single girl that I work with. I remember when I first worked with Charlotte in 2014, the night that we had that match at TakeOver, which people still, thankfully talk about to this day. I said to her, I left it all in the ring. I gave everything I had. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to do the same thing for someone else. And I worked with Xia Li. I've been working with her in my ring. I've been helping her. I've been trying to help anybody that I can help with. I just need them to pay it forward. We need them to pay it forward. The industry needs them to pay it forward. And what good is sitting at the top of the mountain when you can't enjoy it with somebody else? To me, to be able to take all of my experience and to grab somebody that's at the bottom of the mountain and to lift them up, it means more than a championship. It means that you're inspiring somebody else to live their dreams, and that they're going to look back with their kids and go, you know, Natty really like helped give me a chance to like prove myself. Lacey Evans is another one that, you know, she was somebody that I think even WWE wasn't sure what she was capable of. And they knew that she was athletic. They knew that she was beautiful. They knew that she was great on the mic and very gifted in that sense. And she's a former Marine. But then we had this incredible game-changing match in Saudi Arabia that opened up a door for women around the world to have more visibility, not just in a wrestling ring, but in their lives. And people now look at Lacey differently. And I want to be able to do that with every single girl that I wrestle with, to go, you know, to have somebody go, wow, Natty's really good, but that other girl's really, really good too. Like that's the art, that's the magic. And I think my biggest inspiration for that is Bret Hart. If you look at Bret Hart and you look at his body of work and the matches that he's had, you know, Steve Austin says that Bret was one of his favorite people to compete with, that Bret inspired him, that Bret helped him find himself. We may not have seen Stone Cold Steve Austin the way that we see him now if there wasn't a Bret Hart to help him get there. You know, you look at Shawn Michaels and the body of work that Bret and Shawn had together, and Bret really brought out some of Shawn's best performances. And you know, Bret was just talking the other day about how much he loved working with Razor Ramon and how he had magic with Razor. And for me, I want that. I want to be the girl that has magic with everybody, because life is all about paying it forward. That's the legacy that we leave behind.
Absolutely. You know, you mentioned Stone Cold. It's 316 day. And as you mentioned, that Iron Man match against Bret Hart, where he's, you know, Bret's got him in the sharpshooter and Stone Cold's got the Crimson Mask going. If that doesn't happen, who knows where that Austin's career would go, much less Bret's. Yeah. I mean, that kind of set the table for the rocket ship, so to speak, for Steve Austin's career. So,
you're absolutely right. And like, it's just, you know, it's you just want to continue to inspire the masses, because once the red light is on, that footage lives forever.
Absolutely. I was doing some research, and did I see right that you write a weekly column for the Calgary Sun?
Yeah, I have been writing a weekly column. I haven't written it in a while. I took a little bit of a hiatus from it, but for 4 years, I had written a weekly column for the Calgary Sun, which was over 200 like essays.
Right.
So I wrote 200 essays for a newspaper in Canada that went nationwide across Canada. And I was able to write about everything that inspired me. And it was all pretty much WWE related, from Mean Gene Okerlund to Bobby Heenan to Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and the British Bulldog and SummerSlam 1992 and my dad. And I love being able to share those stories, because one day I'm going to write a book, and it'll be so cool to be able to have people flip through the pages and go, wow, I remember that. Or, you know, it's just, you know, those columns are so special to me. I have every single one of them saved. My Uncle Ross actually saves them all for me.
Good. Awesome. Let's get to WrestleMania. Like we say, coming up about 2.5 weeks, just up I-35 from here in Austin, up in Arlington. This feels like a coming out party, because last year you had WrestleMania in Tampa and you had people there, but it was still limited and they had the restriction and everything. So this one feels like WWE is doing, hey, we're open, let's do this, and we're going to have the biggest crowd and everything. Just talk for a second about how excited you are to see WrestleMania in full force coming to the DFW Metroplex coming up in 2.5 weeks.
Oh, we're so excited. We can't wait. It's going to be huge. It's our biggest WrestleMania ever. It's going to be 200,000 people across 2 nights. So when you think about how massive that is, there's never been a WrestleMania like that ever. And now that we have full capacity, last year we had fans, which was amazing, but it was only a minimal capacity. Right. This year, everybody's involved. Everybody's invited. It's going to be huge. There's so many surprises. Of course, everybody's excited about seeing Steve Austin. I feel like Steve Austin's going to throw down a huge can of whoop ass.
Me too.
And, you know, just to have, you never know who's going to show up. I'm really excited to see Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. That's going to be huge. Brock is a beast. When he's walking past you in the hallway backstage at WWE, it's like, this guy is larger than life in person. He's an anomaly. And he's really one of the most, if you take Brock Lesnar, my husband actually said this. He said, Brock is the greatest pro wrestler of all time. And I said to him, I was like, explain that. because I just wanted to hear my husband. Well, he's like a wrestling connoisseur, TJ Wilson.
Yeah.
I said I just wanted to know where that was coming from, because I think Brock is incredible. And he said, you could take Brock Lesnar right now in 2022 and put him in wrestling in 1950, and his style would still hold like strong. He's gifted at his physicality. He's more than proven himself on the mic. He evolves, he changes, he's grown, and he also gives back. Like, people don't know this. Maybe this is too much to say. I don't want to ruin Brock's persona. Brock watches all of our matches in Gorilla.
Nice.
And the last match that I had at SmackDown, he watched, and he critiqued and gave us feedback, gave us advice, told us what we could do to be better. He stayed there and watched. He cared. And it was so cool getting advice from him. Like, he's such a badass, but I really look up to him. Like, I think I really like him, and he gives back. I watch, even, in pro wrestling, it's an inside term. It's called selling.
Right.
But when it's time to give back to somebody, he's getting knocked on his ass because he knows how to build a fight. And I love that about him. He really leads by example. I think he's very, very talented at what he does. But what I'm seeing backstage is him giving back. And I like to go to Brock for advice, because I think that he does know what he's talking about. Yeah. And it's funny because he told me that he said that a dream match for him would have been to wrestle Bret Hart. We were talking last week, and he said that would have been a dream match, because I told him how much Bret was a fan of his work, and he said that would be a dream match. So anyway, I think Brock is awesome.
I totally agree with you. And it's great to hear about Brock backstage, giving back and giving critiques. WrestleMania coming up Saturday and Sunday, April 2nd and 3rd at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Tickets available via SeatGeek. And looking forward to a huge weekend. She is Natalya. Follow her on Twitter at NatByNature, and catch her everywhere. Catch her on SmackDown Friday nights on Fox. And looking forward to seeing her up in the Metroplex. Natalya, I appreciate this time so much. It's great to talk to you. Love talking to you. I love your work, and I wish you all the best. And we'll see you up in Arlington coming up in a couple weeks.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.